The hood trucker, you?
Yeah.
All right, I'm shouting out to my hood trucker over here.
Yes, sir.
He's chilling at this.
Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. 14 of his 25 have come here in the fourth quarter, throwing 10 assists.
Irving to the basket. Irving got it. 0.5 of a second to go. Well, they pick and roll.
Kyrie Irving, a.k.a. Dr. Drew, is a young African-American king on and off the court. When he is not wowing the crowd with his spectacular unorthodox shots or getting by his defenders with his out-of-the-world handle, he is often in the media facing heavy scrutiny. I mean, they criticize him for voicing his opinion, which he totally has the right to.
Notice I said Kyrie Irving is one of the most selfish superstars we've ever seen, and obviously one of the most selfish athletes we've ever seen.
And he is often identified as troubling or confused. Today, I'm going to take a deeper dive into the brilliant mind of Kyrie Irving as he offers a different perspective on his life. In this interview, he speaks on the importance of growth, manifestation, and labeling himself as a king and an artist. Hood trucker, man, I hope y'all enjoy it. Let's rock out.
A poll around the room and say, if you had to describe yourself in 1 or 2 words, what would it be?
I love a genreless life. It's beautiful to watch and appreciate that, but also do it yourself. I make music, I pray with ministers, I sit with everybody you can think of. I'm sitting and observing and trying to learn. Artist just gives me, when I describe myself as an artist, it just gives me an opportunity to do whatever the fuck I want.
You're
an artist.
Artist is vast.
Absolutely. I
You
feel like
create.
we all
You're
are.
creative.
Yeah, creator, artist.
Yeah.
The tool I choose to use as my paintbrush is my basketball. I've done it in my backyard since I was 6 years old.
But when
That's
you're
just
out there,
something.
are you
So-
thinking about the shit you're doing, or are you just doing it?
I am constantly crafting new canvases
Got it.
every time I grab that paintbrush, the ball.
Got it.
New canvas, new side on the court. It is literally just a hardwood floor with lines on it, but I disrespect those lines
So
and go
bad.
outside those boundaries
Yes.
because it's meant to. It's meant
Yeah.
to be
Is
tweaked.
it, and it's fun, right?
Absolutely.
Is it fun when you're losing? It's the
That-
fucking
I was
worst.
just telling him, there's like, do you guys have an assassin's oath?
What's that, Kai?
You just love being in the water full of sharks. The best of the best.
The man in the arena, just like always
On
out
that
there.
level.
It
You
comes
just
with
know
everything.
everybody's a gladiator just like you.
Just
So
like you.
losing is the assassin's oath, like, of just,
needle.
we don't want. Yeah, I'll just be completely honest. I was a nerd way before I was an athlete. Like, just a quirky, awkward kid. So I did it based on the ROI in 4th grade because my dad's a financial sector, head. He knows a lot of information about the market. Saw him wake up 5:30, 6 a.m. to go to Wall Street. So I got a different perspective. 4th grade, I went in my closet, I said, I am going to the NBA. Anything you invoke with I am after it, the power of manifestation and what can happen in the universe comes true. So in 4th grade, so just imagine me in 4th grade, I'm looking at the ROI on what NBA players make per year. And I'm just doing this as a curious young man, exploring the world. And now that I'm 30 years old and I have fiduciary responsibility to the Players Association, representing not just me now, but the next generations to come after. It can be a lot to handle when you learn about the tension behind the scenes.
What have you learned? What have you learned over the last 3 years, 4 years? You went through, you was the eye of the storm for one time. I don't want to talk about the storm, I just want to talk about what you've learned from it. Who am I sitting in front of today?
I have been through a lot more than I could probably speak on in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't use it as baggage that I like to carry around with me. My history is my history. I've done some quirky shit in public and some quirky shit behind the scenes. and I've dealt with like the vilification of that. And I often didn't spend a lot of time with people. You can ask them, I would be in my house, dedicating myself to watching greatness. That's Kobe, Bron, MJ, studying these positions that guys that are in the older generation have done before me. So I want to be just like them. Like playing with Bron and playing with KD These are two of the best to ever lace them up, but within our culture, they are two true icons. And I had to fill in those shoes that were very uncomfortable for me because at that point in my life, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I was watching the 30 for 30 on a decision. A year later, I was drafted into that Cleveland emotional train of the prodigal son, chosen one has left, and here we have this 19-year-old kid. I'm 6'2", I'm not jumping out of the gym. Emotionally, I was dealing with things that I had no idea.
Had nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. So when I took on that pressure and as my own, I started feeling like I got to bring Cleveland back to the promised land. That was a solo act.
You went through that when you were 19. How old were you when Bron came back?
22, 23.
22, 23. With what you know now at 30, do you do anything differently during that period?
We could sit here for hours. We could sit here for hours going through the details, combing through it, but I think the greatest thing I would tell the youth is superheroes need help. You know, the leader of the team doesn't always have to take on the burden. And Bron took on crazy burdens. We feel, that's the biggest commonality we have as human beings is emotions. They may look different in how we express it, but they're the same. If you're angry or you're sad or you're going through stuff in your life, it is the same emotion that I would feel. It just may look different. I'll be honest with you, I was in those circles where the shadows were all around me, partying my ass off, relationships here and there, going through heartbreak, going through things that show the authentic, true you because somebody's actually putting up with your shit. Shout out to my wife. You know, she's actually putting up with all the drama and all the things that I thought I had to hide. And this person came along my life in the last 3 years and she shook my whole world up. And I started having kids, started calling myself a king, a chief of my tribe. My daughter started doing things that really shaped the way I wanted to see her future. And that is really what invited me to become a softie, more feminine in my approach. It's cool to be masculine all the time, but there's a balance, like Kundalini, like the yin and yang.
I think Karma also chooses, like, you're supposed to be a girl dad, you know? I have 2 girls. I'm like, that's what my whole life was for, research, to matriculate to them to the best of my ability. I understand.